It's been a long time since I've done one of these videos where I just talk directly to the camera and just air out my thoughts, just let you guys know what I'm thinking. It's been good to put out the content where it's all structured more and, just easier to follow. But sometimes I just prefer the element of just talking directly to you guys and just letting you know how I'm feeling. And it helps. Sometimes I find it a bit daunting to be on the camera. Sometimes it's the element of starting from scratch. Sometimes I feel, and it's not something that I'm particularly comfortable with or even confident in doing, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it as much as I can to improve and be better. And it has been useful for me. I've been very much mindful in terms of how I'm speaking, just ensuring that I'm improving in the process of how I'm speaking directly to the camera and using less filler words or using less words that undermine my ability, because it's all about perception. It's all about how you're perceived. And with my experience working in PR, that's the one thing that I learned a lot. The way that you're perceived can change everything, absolutely everything. But the reason why I'm doing this video more so, if you clicked on this video and you're looking in with me, is to not give up. Don't give up. Whatever idea that you have, keep going. If it is not going to plan, it's simply a case of pivoting, reviewing where you're at and seeing what you can do to improve and to just keep going. And by all means, if something needs to take a breather, you need to take a break, then take a break. Take that break, take the time that you need, but don't give up. Don't give up, because I think it's a blessing. I think it's a blessing in itself that we even have ambitions and dreams to even pursue. And I really didn't understand the importance of it until I left my job and went to do this full time and to really make a good go and to make a good effort with, building a life that I wanted to build for myself. And it's something that I've learned a lot over the last year, that we need our own infrastructure. We need to build our own things. The job market right now, like I said in my previous video, the job market is crazy. It's so many stories of people losing jobs, redundancies and everything. And for many of us, sometimes I feel like we've been bamboozled into thinking that this is the necessary route that we need to do. We need to, get a study, go to university, get a degree, and then just get a job and just work and work and work and work and work. But I found that in the process of that, the whole idea of job security is looking very weird for me at the moment. I feel that these jobs nowadays, as much as they used to be the sort of epitome of what it means to be secure with your job, that level of job security, it's not a thing anymore. It's not a thing anymore. Good people that I know, good people that are good at what they do and good at their jobs, that are fantastic assets to any organization or company, is losing their roles and losing their livelihood. And that's why the personal branding part is deeper for me, because it provides the leverage and it provides the security that we should have had in the first place. We should have had this security in the first place. And the whole element of personal branding for me is not about vanity or, saying how good you are at these things or how amazing you are at certain things. It's about being honest with yourself and building yourself up to be perceived as the obvious choice. So you have the security to continue to pursue all the things that you're choosing to do. And anyone that's building a business or building something from scratch, you can't give up. You can't give up because there's nothing waiting for you back where you was in the process of building and pursuing and chasing your dreams and your goals. You will learn so much about yourself that you didn't even think you would have known before, or you would develop so many skills that you wouldn't have even fathomed to even have in your locker when it comes down to it. There's so many things I've managed to do for myself which I didn't even think was feasible or possible for me, and it came down to a lot of anxiety in some instances, low confidence in some aspects, and just not really believing, a lot of imposter syndrome, I would say. It has been something I had to really work on to get to the stage of being relentless and resilient with it. And the problem is, when you know that you're destined for greatness and you're destined for something bigger than yourself, you're usually in a position where you initially feel that it's not for you. But I have reason to believe that if you were not designed to be ready to take on the opportunity that you even had in your head or in your mind, God would never have given you that idea in the first place. In my opinion, you wouldn't have had that thought process to even want to do that thing had it not been something that you can do. And with that, you need to really kind of cherish the fact that you even have the dream and the goals to work with, because some people don't. Some people don't. And you know what? That's completely fine as well, because it's not every day that you need to, leave your job to pursue something that may or may not work. But the main point of this video anyway is to really drive it home that you can't give up. You can't quit. We need to be in a position where we have our personal brands in check and we can use it to our advantage, because the job market is not going to get any better. I promise you that. It's going to get worse. And with it getting worse, we can't rely on one job to keep us afloat or to keep us going. And we just can't rely on not making ourselves as visible as possible in order to get the opportunities that we want. I know sometimes it could be cringy doing these videos. I always say to everyone I speak to, I'm be like, it's cringy sometimes, but it's got to be done. It's got to be done because it's important to lead by example on my side. Anyone close to me, I've been screaming personal branding, visibility. You need to build your personal brand. You need to be on LinkedIn. You need to be posting content. You need to be visible. You need to be proactive. There's so many things that I'm saying, and I'm in the process of doing the same thing. I'm in the process of building a £1 million personal brand. And people may think, oh, yeah, a million, okay, whatever. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen without a doubt, because I have my perseverance is crazy. I'm telling you, it's been one of the maddest years in my life, but through that, one of the most amazing years, because of the opportunities that has presented itself just off the back of me posting content and off the back of me going on YouTube and just recording videos. I've literally seen the difference it makes when you become visible and the opportunities that presents itself as a result of you doing so. That's why I'm so big on it, because I've seen it myself. So don't give up, but at the same time, be smarter with the approach. If you're building, build in public. Let everyone know what you're feeling, how you're thinking, how you're going about the process, and ultimately share the journey. Everyone wants to see the journey because it will inspire other people to know that the thing that you're doing is possible. And once upon a time, I used to be that person that would see my peers or someone in a greater position talking and saying that if they can do it, then you can too. You know, that sort of vibe. You hear it all the time. But they're not lying. They're not lying. And at some stage, sooner rather than later, I'm going to be that same person saying, if I can do it, then you can do it too, because it's true. I went from a place of just not doing anything to benefit myself for the future, because I was just scared to be a lot more proactive with that level of visibility. But through that approach of just learning and just really honing in into what it means to just be authentically me. And it may not be a case of you having to be on YouTube dropping the content. It could be other means, but whatever you find to be authentic to you and the best way to get your message across from one to many. Where far too often we're doing the one-to-one conversations, which is good, but if we're really trying to make the traction that we are saying that we are looking to make, we need to be putting out content that can reach many people and can reach them on a deeper level. Because, agreed, not everyone is trying to hear about your particular business venture, or not everyone's trying to hear something on the vibe that you're trying to sell them something, but everyone wants to know the process of what you're doing and how you're doing it and what you're doing to get there, and your thought process and the aspirations behind it, because all those things are important. So with that video, I would say, or for the end of the video, I would say, don't give up. Just don't give up. Be very much prepared for the obstacles that will come, because that's life, man. There's so many obstacles, but it's about the amount of times, if you get knocked down, you get back up. You know, you keep going and you keep finding new ways to keep growing and developing and networking and meeting people and embracing and enjoying the process. It can be very hard in times where you feel nothing is particularly going your way, but I assure you, document the process, because when you get to that stage, after all of those hard nights, the long nights, the sleepless nights of you working relentlessly, putting in the work, putting in the hours, putting in that graveyard shift, no one except you is going to know how hard you worked to make this a reality. So I would say you got to do it for yourself. And with that, I didn't even want to do this video. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't bothered. I was just like, I've got content to make, but it's a promise I made to myself. I said to myself, every Wednesday, I'm dropping blog content. Every Thursday, my newsletter is dropping. And every Friday, YouTube videos coming out, regardless. And it's about keeping that promise to myself, because there's no better level of integrity you can have than the integrity you have for yourself, because how you decide to show up in the world as yourself is based on the things that you tell yourself and the truths that you tell yourself. And I'm a big believer in that. And I think that is ultimately the reason why a lot of things worked in my favor in the process, despite the obstacles that may have presented themselves, or the times where I just wasn't really feeling like getting the work done. It was the promises I keep to myself that keeps me on the straight and narrow, just to ensure that things are going to get done because I said they're going to get done, or if I said I'm going to do it, then it's going to get done. And with that, that's how the compounding starts. And it may seem like nothing's happening, but I assure you that whatever you decide to work on, it's either going to work on you or it's going to work for you. And when I say that, I mean that you working on whatever it is you decide to work on, it's going to work on you based on how you learn from it, how you develop from it, how you grow from it. And in some instances, it can work for you because of the doors that it may potentially open based on you doing that thing. So whatever that thing is, find your rhythm, dedicate yourself to it, and just keep going. And in the process of doing that, document every single bit, every single thing that's happened, whether it's good, bad, neutral, document it, because it's something that you need to look back on in a year's time from now and look back and see how far you've come. And that's the reason why a lot of this content that I'm putting out is very much non-edited, because I want to be watching this back in a year or so and then just see how much I've grown and how much I've developed over the time. And even in this video, I don't even think I've used a filler word, and it's all come from practice. I may have used one, I'll need to check the video, but like I mentioned, it all comes from practice and getting the work done and developing over time. And as I am working on becoming the best version of myself, I understand that it takes time. But just because it takes time doesn't mean that things aren't happening. They may just not be visible as of yet. But as I say to everyone, there's going to be a shift in whatever you decide to do. And once that shift happens, then you're not going to look back, because it's a shift that shows that you're ready for the next stage of your journey, whatever it is that you decide to do. It's the next phase of what you're working towards, and just getting to a higher level based on you completing all the previous tasks and the previous things that you had to battle. And then the whole point is that you win, you get stronger, you go to the next level. Sometimes you just got to treat this whole thing like a game, because ultimately it is. But I would say, give yourself grace. Always focus on what you can do to improve. And like I said in one of my previous videos, you're doing the best you can with what you have. You are competing against people who may have a lot more funding behind them, a lot more resources. So just do it the way that you can do it, to the best of your ability, and continue to improve over time. Day after day, we're improving, we're growing, and we're just showing not just ourselves, but the people who love us, that care for us, that want us to do well. We're showing them that it can be done. And ultimately, all I really want in the process of building this £1 million personal brand, all I really want is for as much people to understand the importance of building their own £1 million personal brand, because it's the brand that's going to future-proof them for the next economy. And I spoke about that in my previous video, but we need to really step up with our branding and let people know what we're doing and what we're trying to do, because it's gonna be rough. I won't even lie. It's going to be rough, and we don't have too long. I said it again, and I'll say it again. The 30th of November, 2027. That's the deadline. That's when the bubble pops, and then it's just like, okay, now that I have this brand, what am I doing now to leverage it? Do I have intellectual property that I own based off of my brand that I can use as leverage and I can build from? What is my network looking like? Who am I collaborating with in the future? All these things are going to be things that you need to think about and to consider in the near future, because it's coming, and ultimately you don't want to be here in 2 years' time thinking about you should have done this or you should have done that, because by then it's just going to be too late and you're going to continuously be playing catch up, and then that's where it becomes a lot more harder to keep things moving in the way that it needs to move, because you're faced with just bigger obstacles, and your competitors or your peers that took all this advice in mind and built their personal brand in the process, they position themselves as the obvious choice for whatever they decide to do. And through that, a lot of people are always going to think of them for whatever opportunities come their way in the future. And you don't want to be playing second fiddle just because you just were too nervous or too scared to post content. And that used to be me. And that's why I speak so highly on it, because I used to be that person. But through, like I said, that perseverance and teaching myself and growing, that's no longer me. And I'm only focused on being the best version of myself. And through the process of that is through building my £1 million personal brand. So I always say it's going to be a quick video, but it never is, man. But I have a tendency of saying long story short, and I'm just there talking forever. But either way, like I said, don't give up, keep going. And if this video was helpful or it sparked any inspiration, drop a comment. Let me know if you're feeling the videos. Let me know what you want to hear more about. Let me know if what content you want to hear. Let me know what I could potentially do to switch things up. More reaction videos. If you want to see me outside getting some content, we can do that. But yeah, let me know. Like I said, I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting. I am in this for the long haul. And it's going to be a beautiful journey, because you're going to see the level of growth and the perseverance that I speak about all the time. And when it compounds to that point where the shift occurs and I'm in a whole different space because of that commitment I made to myself, you're all going to see it. And I want you to join me in the journey. I don't want you to just listen and hear what I have to say, but don't act on it. And if you need any support or if you need any help with getting the ball rolling, then just let me know. Just leave a comment, or get in touch with me on LinkedIn or on those socials, and I'll be happy to help. I want to help as much people as possible whilst I'm in the process of helping myself, because there's so many things I've learned over the last year that I'm going to be sharing with you guys on a weekly basis. But ultimately, I've learned that you can listen to all the content, you can read all the content, but if you're not applying the actual teachings to yourself on a daily basis, it's just going to be a lot more difficult to kind of believe it yourself that these things are actually doable, or these things are actually real. But you don't have to take my word for it, but I promise you the compounding element of things is real. It is super real. And there's going to be loads of losses in the process, because there may be people who may not necessarily understand why you're doing it. There may be people that are quick to critique or to judge without actually having an understanding. But sooner rather than later, they'll understand. You just need to focus on your thing. It was like when I passed my driving test, and my instructor would say, drive your own drive. he'll be like, don't worry about the people on the road, focus on your drive. And that's what you got to do sometimes. You just got to focus on what you need to do for yourself, and everyone's going to be doing their thing. Just focus on yourself. And in the process of that, once again, don't give up. But yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next week. Peace out, man.